What's going on, guys? How are you? You good? Awesome. Hey, go ahead and help me out with something. There is this two-word saying that a lot of parents will teach their young kids. And the point of this saying, it rhymes. These two words, they rhyme. It's meant to make our young kids aware of their surroundings and hopefully protect them. So help me finish the statement. It's stranger. Yeah, all right, stranger danger, right? It's this catchy little statement that hopefully kids will remember so that they can be protected from what every parent fears most, and that's somebody that we don't know doing our kids harm. And every parent is afraid of that, and rightfully so, because, man, little kids they're naturally trusting to adults, even adults they don't know. Little kids have a hard time knowing how to stand up to an adult, and they're innocently naive to a lot of things, which makes them vulnerable to people that would want to take advantage of that would want to take advantage of that innocence and them being naive. And we as parents, we know that stuff exists in the world. So we want to teach them, we try to protect them, to not immediately trust people that they don't know and be on their guard. Stranger danger, don't talk to strangers. And that's wise to an extent, right? Because part of our job is to protect our kids and teach them to protect themselves. And when I say protect, I don't mean we wrap them up in the proverbial bubble wrap every single time they walk into the house. Like, it's okay if our kids get banged up a little bit, right? My youngest just went to the urgent care a couple weeks ago because he decided he was gonna take on a metal pole with his scooter. Guess who won? Not my son. I love those medical bills for stitches. That's great, isn't it? Right? It's okay. We don't want to be helicopter parents. That actually harms kids as they grow up. But our job as parents is to protect them and teach them how to protect themselves from situations that could cause them serious harm or could be foolishly risky. So stranger danger is this well-meaning attempt to protect our kids. But I wonder, has that actually negatively impacted us as we've grown up? Have we let this mentality, stranger danger, have we let this mentality creep into our minds as adults? I think it's a question that each one of us should examine for ourselves, especially if you're a Christian. Have we let stranger danger mentality enter into our minds? Now, a stranger is not just somebody that you don't know. We can define it as something so much more than that. Sure, a stranger is somebody that you don't know, but a stranger is also someone who thinks differently than you, who doesn't believe the same thing as you do. Maybe somebody you know, like in your family, but you're completely disconnected from them. A stranger can even be somebody that doesn't like you. So sure, a stranger can be a danger to a young kid, but for us, once we become teenagers and then young adults and then on to full adulthood, the stranger isn't the danger. It might be how we interact or how we don't interact with them. Now hold on to that thought because we're going to come back to that. Romans 12:13 says, seek to show hospitality. Seek to show hospitality. And that sounds great. I mean, we're all in on hospitality, aren't we? We all enjoy hospitality. We like it when we get to experience it. And I think everybody would say, yeah, like, Matt, of course. Like, I want to be more hospitable. I want to grow in my showing of hospitality. Like, we're all in agreement that hospitality is a good thing, right? We agree on that? Thank you, Rochelle. I appreciate that. My question is, do we really know what it means? Because, at least in my house, tensions seem to be at the highest point right before we have people coming over to our house. Anybody else experience marital tension before you have people come over to your house? Yes, right? That's reality. Now, here's one thing that I've learned. As a pastor, you find out that most fights in marriages occur over one of three things. Most fights either occur over sex and finances. That's one. That's real. That's pretty natural. The other place a fight normally happens is inside Target or IKEA. That's real, is it not? Target and IKEA. Dangerous places for relationships. Dangerous. And then the other place fights will happen are about an hour before you have people coming over to your house. I mean, like, you're looking at the clock and in 45 minutes, they're gonna be here and you're nowhere close to being ready, right? So you start getting tense with your spouse and you start speaking very directly to each other in very incomplete sentences like living room, vacuum, go, or sink, dishes empty, or here's my favorite, bathroom, kids use lots of bleach. Like just, that happens. Like you're starting to get built up and you're watching the clock and the seconds and the minutes are just flying by and then all of a sudden it happens. The doorbell rings. They're here and you are nowhere close to being ready. So you and your spouse, you walk together to the front door, questioning each other every step of the way. Did you vacuum? Yes, I vacuumed. The charcuterie board doesn't look great. Who cares what it looks like? It is a board of meat and cheese. That's really hard to screw that up. Why are you wearing that shirt? Hi! We're so glad that you're here. We haven't been fighting at all. No, we're really glad you're here. Is that just my house? Please tell me it's not. All right, well, I'll be real. Now, full disclosure, I'm the problem in our house. Kelly is awesome at this. She's so good at showing hospitality, so much better than I am. And that's great. Like, we should do those things. If you're going to have people over, I highly recommend you cleaning your house before you have guests over. That's just a nice courtesy. It's totally fine to have a pumpkin spice candle burning in every single room. It's great to have good food before people come over. But my question is that really hospitality? There's a difference between hospitality and entertaining. Like, entertaining is all about the host, not the guest. It's about what will your guest think about you. Man, the house has got to be spotless. The food better be perfect. The kids better be angels. Or what are they going to think about us as hosts? It's really easy to fall into that mindset. That's entertaining. Hospitality, however, is something different. Hospitality is completely focused, not on yourself at all. It's completely focused on the needs of somebody else. Hospitality is giving them what they actually need, and maybe that's somebody just needs a nourishing meal. Who cares if the food's fancy or the presentation? Nobody cares what that looks like. They just need someone to feed them. Or maybe they need a place to stay, and you provide that. Or maybe somebody just needs a listening ear. There's a lot of talking going on today, not a lot of listening. Maybe somebody just needs to be listened to and you can provide that. That's a need they have. Maybe they just need to be accepted. Hospitality and entertaining are two different things. And hospitality is not limited to just your home either. Seek to show hospitality, that means seek to show it all the time. This is the call for anyone who's a Christian. We seek to show hospitality in our home, in our church building, in our office, in a restaurant, in your school. We're constantly trying to show hospitality. It's not entertaining. There's nothing wrong with entertaining, but hospitality is taking care of the needs of the person that's right in front of you and making them feel valued. That's what hospitality is. The Greek definition for it in Romans, remember that the New Testament is originally written in Greek. The Greek definition for the word in hospitality in Romans 12:13 is philoxenia, and it means love to strangers. That's what hospitality means in Romans 12. It means love to strangers. So showing hospitality is not for the people that you know and have a relationship with. That's just you being a good friend or being a good family member or investing in a relationship that you already have. That's totally cool. That stuff is great. Like, can you have people over to watch the Broncos game and smoke some ribs on your Traeger? Absolutely. Like, if you want to come over and watch the Colts game, you're more than welcome to hang out. If they're ever on TV here, like, that's just, you can come over. Like, Kelly and I went over to a friend's house yesterday and they had a bunch of people over. It was a blast. That stuff's awesome. Can you have people over? Can you do things for people that you know, that you're in a relationship with? Yes, of course. And we should do more of it. But hospitality is something a little bit more. Like, Jesus calls you and I to something more, something greater, and something that might make us a little bit uncomfortable. Love to strangers. Someone that you don't know, someone that's not like you, someone that doesn't agree with you, somebody who believes something different than you, somebody that doesn't even like you. Love to that person, that's biblical hospitality. That's why we've got to drop this. If we have it, we got to drop a stranger danger mentality, because that will prevent you from showing biblical hospitality. And that's hard, because that can be really uncomfortable. And we don't like to be uncomfortable at all. We're big fans of comfort. And there's nothing wrong with comfort, but what's happened is our culture has turned comfort into a god. Pursue comfort above all else, and if anything makes you uncomfortable, cancel it. That's where we're at today in the world. But one of the many flaws with that way of thinking is that is going to deny you the opportunity for personal growth. We grow most often when we are uncomfortable, not when we're comfortable. I mean, this is true all the way down at a physiological level. If you are physically comfortable the entire time you are in the gym, you're doing it wrong. You're just wrong. You're not growing in strength at all. But instead, we intentionally make ourselves physically uncomfortable in the gym so that we can grow stronger, so that we can become healthy. And this is true of every area in your life. You will grow most often when you are in situations that push you, that are outside of that comfort zone, that make you uncomfortable. That's why one of my jobs as your pastor is at times to make you a little uncomfortable so that you can grow. And my promise to you is that I'm always going to do it in truth. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to do it as graciously as I possibly can so that you can grow. But this is not our default. We shy away from things that make us uncomfortable. We do, quickly. Man, we love to gravitate towards the things that make us feel really good. This is the draw to homogeny. If I can create this homogenous group of people around me, people that are just like me, that think like me, that like me, that are the same as me, if I can surround myself with those people, then I'll be comfortable. Now, it's nothing wrong with being around people that you like, or that you have similarities to, or that you have common ground with. That's where most friendships begin. But if you never break out of that, you are going to miss out on the opportunity to impact people's lives with the gospel, and you're going to miss out on the opportunity to personally grow. God has put you in specific circles of influence in your neighborhood, in your work, in your family, in your school. Circles of influence with people that don't think like you, act like you, talk like you, look like you, believe like you. And he put you there not for you to be an observer. He put you there to show hospitality. Because hospitality, get this, hospitality is our secret weapon. In a world that is increasingly becoming more hostile and more divided and more ruthless and more condemning and more canceling, people are just mean to each other, are they not? We're all on a hair trigger. Everyone's ready to fight. Everyone's ready to shout. No one's ready to listen. No one's ready to care for. So our secret weapon, that's an opportunity for us. Hospitality is our secret weapon in an increasingly inhospitable world. The more inhospitable the world becomes, man, the more impactful your hospitality is gonna be. It's gonna stand out. As tense as things get in the world, hey, the positive side for us is it's a huge opportunity. It becomes a whole lot easier for us to just be distinctive. But if you're a Christian, we've gotta know this and you gotta understand this. People are always going to argue against the truth of the gospel. They just will. They'll argue against the truth of it because they don't believe it, or they don't think it intellectually stands up on itself, or they don't understand what it says, or they don't like what it says. That's the objection I run into the most. Or because the gospel is offensive. It is. The gospel calls you, me, everyone on the planet, it calls all of us out of our own individual sin, and that's pretty offensive today. People have been and will always argue against the truth and diminish the truth of the gospel. They started doing it the day Jesus walked out of the grave, and they're going to be doing it until he comes back. People will always argue against the truth of the gospel, but they cannot argue against your tangible hospitality. They can. It messes with people in a way like, what, this doesn't add up. This message and then how people are treating me because they're treating me a whole lot better than everybody else in the world is. Your hospitality will authenticate the gospel. This is what miracles did for Jesus. Miracles, when he was preaching, it authenticated what he was preaching. Hospitality does the same thing for us today. It authenticates the gospel of Jesus. It will authenticate your faith to the people in your circles of influence. And eventually what it will do, maybe today, maybe next week, maybe 5 years from now, your hospitality will open the door for a conversation. A conversation that you get to have now. Sometimes a lot of times actually, we have to earn the right to be heard. Nobody's just gonna listen because they wanna listen. We got to earn the right to be heard, and we do it through our hospitality. And when that conversation comes, man, I've had people say to me before, Matt, I don't believe what you believe. I don't agree with you. I'm not like you. No joke, I've even had somebody say this to me, Matt, I don't even know if I like you. I'm like, all right, I'm cool with the honesty, but let's pump the brakes, bro, like easy, all right? I don't even know if I like you, but why are you doing this for me? I've had someone say that to me before. That's powerful when that happens. When someone says to you, bro, like, why are you showing love to me and other people who are not like you? That is such an open door for you to share the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is what every man, woman, and child on this planet is in desperate need of right now. So as a church, talent is not our secret weapon. Innovation is not our secret weapon. Intelligence is not our secret weapon. Those things are great. We've got all three of those. We have talent, we have innovation, we have intelligence. They're not our secret weapon. Hospitality is our secret weapon. Hospitality requires genuine love. Remember what genuine love is. It is the sincere and earnest desire for the well-being and blessing of all people. Genuine love is the full truth and the full grace of God, and it is always outward focused, action-oriented. Hospitality requires that genuine love. It requires humility. It requires honoring the person that's right in front of you. Grace, truth, and genuine love. If you've been following this series at all, are you starting to see how these marks in Romans 12, how they're all linked together? And well, not only is hospitality our secret weapon in this increasingly inhospitable world, people are hungry for it. Like, have you noticed this? Like, people are hungry to experience genuine love because there's all kind of fake love out there. It's everywhere. People want genuine love. They want to feel like they're valued. People want to belong. They're hungry for this because it's wired into all of us. Showing biblical hospitality is saying to someone, you matter. I see you. You have value. You're loved. You belong here. And I think this is one of the biggest drivers behind inclusion in the world today. We're hearing so much about inclusion, aren't we? Well, I have this question. I wonder if the reason why people feel like they're feeling more and more exclusion in the world, is that because they haven't experienced hospitality from the church yet? I don't know. Now to clear some of this up, the word inclusion has become a pretty charged word in our culture. One of the stereotypes for Christians is that we don't want anything to do with anyone who doesn't believe the same thing that we do, and if you don't live up to our standards, I still don't know what those standards are, whatever, then you don't belong. The stereotype is that we are incredibly exclusive and that if you don't fit our mold, then you're not welcome here. That's one of the stereotypes. And maybe that's your experience too. You've experienced that from someone who calls himself a Christ follower or from another church. Yeah, it's really easy for me to stand up here and apologize for something that I had nothing to do with in your life, but I still want to say I'm sorry if that's what you've experienced. Because contrary to popular belief, that's not who we are. So let me try to clear up the stereotype, and we've hit on this before. First, the gospel of Jesus Christ is exclusive. It is. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, the life. It's very exclusive. That's singular. It means there's not other ways, there's not other religions, there's not other lifestyles, there's not other philosophies that will lead you to God and lead you to eternal life. Jesus says, nope, I'm it. One way. It's me. I am the truth. You're not going to find it anywhere else. And that truth is that Jesus is the Son of God, that he did rise from the dead, that God's word, the Bible, that it is truth, that one day Jesus is coming back. And that every single one of us, you, me, every person who's taken a breath on the planet, all of us need redemption and forgiveness because all of us have individual sin in our lives. The bad news is we can't make up for it on our own. Like, there's no checklist of religious things you got to do. You can't be a good enough person to earn the grace and the forgiveness that you and I both need. It's only found in one person, and Jesus freely offers it to all of us. You can only find grace and forgiveness through faith in Jesus. That's exclusive. But the great news is we don't have to guess anymore. Because we've been given this grace, we follow Jesus in faith and we obey what he says as an act of worship and a response to what he's done for us. We don't have to guess, is it this way or is it that way or is it this religion or is it this lifestyle? No. Jesus says, no, forget all of that. It's this, it's me. One way, one truth, one life. That's great news because we don't have to guess. It's exclusive, but here's the rest of the great news. It's entirely inclusive in that it's for everybody. Everybody is offered the grace and forgiveness of Jesus. Everybody is offered the truth that is exclusively found in Jesus. Everyone is offered the invitation to die to yourself and follow Christ, which will give you the gift of being a new creation. That's great news. The gospel is incredibly exclusive, but it's also entirely inclusive in that it's for everyone. That sounds great, but if you're a Christian, if you call LifeBridge home, the way that we prove that is through our hospitality. Seek to show hospitality. Show love to strangers. The foundation of the gospel's exclusiveness is truth. The foundation of the gospel's inclusion is hospitality. Now, it doesn't mean that we compromise the truth or affirm bad theology. No, it doesn't mean that. We just simply take care of the needs of the people that are right in front of us. It doesn't matter who they are. We just care for them, show them love, and take care of their needs. Jesus did this all the time. And I think one of the fears that people have, that if Christians have this fear or churches have this fear, we get into this mindset that we think, well, wait a second, if I show hospitality to people that don't act like me or believe like me or agree with me, well then, doesn't that mean that I'm compromising the truth? No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, to compromise the truth actually means you're compromising hospitality. Remember, the word means love to strangers. Part of genuine love is the full truth and grace of God. So to compromise the truth means you're actually compromising hospitality. You can't show real hospitality without giving people real truth. Genuine love, grace, and truth all make up hospitality. So bottom line is this. To show the real Jesus is to show real hospitality. So what's this look like practically, though? Well, Jesus actually gives a list. In Matthew 25, he starts talking to these people and he explains, here's what it looks like. And he's talking about what's going to happen when he comes back. Here's what he says. Then the king will say, Jesus is the king. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom that is prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me into your home. I was naked, and you gave me some clothes. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you? Or when were you thirsty and we gave you something to drink? Or a stranger and show you hospitality? Or naked and gave you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And then the king, Jesus, and the king will say, I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these of my brothers and sisters, you're doing it to me. I want him to say that to me one day. Like, how cool will that be? I mean, seriously, let that sink in. How cool will that be to hear Jesus say that to you? I want him to say that to you. I want him to say that about LifeBridge. That we fed, that we gave, that we cared for, that we invited, that we visited. And get this, the people that he's telling this story to, they had no idea that it was Jesus they were serving. They thought it was a complete stranger. Like, they didn't evaluate it. They didn't say, you know what, does this person agree with me? Do they have the same political ideology as I do? Do they line up on my theology? Do I even like this person? No, there was no evaluation. There was no discussion. They just saw somebody right in front of them who they could serve, they could show love to, that they could take care of their needs, and they just did it. It's awesome. And then the least of these, the people who couldn't return the favor, the people who were unwanted, the outcasts of society, they included the least of these by their hospitality, which validated the truth of the entire gospel because they lived it out. Hospitality is a tangible expression of your faith. So my question is, who actually are the least of these? Yeah, it's the people that can't return the favor to you by serving them. Sure, it's people that are looked down upon and are the outcasts of society. But it could it be actually more? What about the people that you look down on because you don't like them or you disagree with them? I mean, it's so easy for our culture. Anybody in our culture, you, me, I am guilty of this. I've done this before. It's so easy for any of us to look down on someone that we disagree with or we don't like. We look at them and say, you know what? I could care less about this person. I hope you don't audibly say that, but I know that's really easy to enter in up here. I could care less about this person because they're a part of this religion. I could care less for this person because, you know what? They're a part of this political party. I could care less about this person because they did this to me, or they think this, or they said this, or they believe this. Because of all that, you know what? I'm not going to say anything to them, but I just could care less about them. Have you ever done that? Again, I have. Well, if you could care less about someone, haven't you just made them the least of these in your mind? So even if that person has all of their needs met, which by the way, nobody does. Everyone has needs, whether you see them or not. You're called to show love to that person. Show hospitality to that person. Bottom line, it doesn't matter who people are. It doesn't matter what they think or look like or believe. It doesn't matter what they've done. Now, I know some of you have experienced some horrific things from people in your life, whether it's some kind of abuse, sexual, mental, physical, verbal. You've been exploited or taken advantage of. That. Like, that stuff is real. I know that's in this room right now. I know that's online with us right now too. Doesn't mean you have to run back to that person that has victimized you or abused you. No, not at all. But someone who's done something to you that maybe they talked about you behind your back. Maybe they betrayed you. You're still showing love to that person. The stranger, the person that you don't know, you're showing love to that person. You're taking care of that person's needs. That's what biblical hospitality is. That's what Jesus calls us to. So not only is hospitality our secret weapon in an increasingly inhospitable world, here's the mark. If you're a follower of Christ, this is what we want to grow in, and Romans takes it to another level. Be known for being hospitable to people who are inhospitable to you. And that's hard. We don't have to say like, oh, that's easy, we can do that. No, that's hard. It is. The good news of it is that if you're following Jesus, it's really easy to look distinct in this. You're going to have plenty of people that you can serve and you can bless just because they might think down on you because of your faith. But this is what Jesus calls us to. Serve, love, show hospitality to these people, whoever they are. And you will run into them every single day. We have an opportunity every single day to give people a taste of tangible faith. It's hospitality. Practically, what does it look like? Well, Jesus kind of gave us a list right here to start with. He said, number one, they fed. Okay, let's feed people. There's people all over northern Colorado that don't know where their next meal is going to come from. So we're partnered with the Hour Center here in Longmont. It's a food distribution center that takes care of the food needs for people all over the St. Vrain area. Starting next month, we're going to do another food drive. So we can just feed as many people as we possibly can. People that you may never meet in this lifetime, but we can show them hospitality. So we're going to do that. But feeding is not just physical hunger. What about feeding people spiritually and emotionally and mentally and relationally? How can you feed people that way? He also said they gave. Well, we can give to physical needs also. One thing we're going to do next month also is a coat drive. There are plenty of people around northern Colorado that don't have coats. And as great as this fall has been, I don't want to jinx it right now, but the white stuff's about to fly. Like, we know that. So let's give people coats. Or kindness for kids, something we've done for years at this church. There's plenty of kids all over the place around here that aren't going to get Christmas presents this year. There could be a supply chain issue in our country. There's not a supply chain issue with the church. Let's give kids Christmas presents. That's going to be here in the next 2 months. Or stuff for single moms. Man, Single Moms is one of our most focused ministries in our church, and we partner with the Pearl Group, and single moms are heroes in our communities. The things that they do for their families, we want to bless them with physical needs. So we're going to do stuff next month and after that, so be looking for that. This is also why we give our time to serve people. That's how we show hospitality. We give our talents. You have been blessed. You have certain gifts. All of us have gifts. And when we put all of our gifts together as a church and then mobilize that, the kind of hospitality that we can show, incredible. It's another reason why we give our finances too. First and foremost, we give here at LifeBridge. This is who we are. We give as an act of worship to God. We start off with 10%. I want to give my tithes to you, God, as an act of worship to show you that, hey, you've given this to me and money doesn't have a hold of my heart. You do first. But one of the things that comes out of it when we worship God by giving back our finances is we get to bless more people, more hospitality. I get this, like tithe means 10%, right? We did a whole series on this earlier this year. On average, Christians around the world, not including the United States, on average, Christians around the world give about 1.9% of their income. And that includes impoverished nations, third world countries where people are living on less than $1 a day, still giving 1.9% of their income. In the United States, on average, Christians give 1.8% of their income. We are the richest country in the history of the world, and we're getting outdone by third world countries when it comes to giving. The church is being outdone. Like I tried to think about, hey, what kind of vision could I cast with this? But I really cannot wrap my mind around if the church in North America actually averaged 10%. What we could do, LifeBridge alone, if we were at that, there would be no food insecurity in Northern Colorado. Our church alone could wipe it out. There would be no foster or adoption issues when it came to money. We could plant churches here in Colorado all around the world. We could invest in our local partners even more, partners globally. I mean, just if we gave, that's what Jesus is saying. They gave hospitality. They invited, not just inviting people into our houses that are our friends and our acquaintances, people that we don't really know. Invite them in, just for coffee or a meal. Invite people into your small group. My group's about ready to split again because it's grown so big. We've already split once this year. We're going to do it again soon because all the guys in our group just keep inviting people. They don't even know them very well. We just keep inviting people, and it grows and grows. People want to be invited into community. Invite people to come with you to church. Invite people into community. They cared for. Well, that goes beyond physical needs. Maybe you care for people by encouragement. Encouragement is a need of everybody. Everybody's in desperate need of that. In fact, my pastor growing up used to say this. He said that if every Christian gave 3 intentional encouragements to people a day, we'd see revival. I think he's right. Or maybe what people need in the way you can care for them is just listen to them. Or kindness. Kindness is super underrated as a way to care for people. Or they visited. Give people the gift of your presence, your availability. Just be present with them. What that will say to somebody is, oh, somebody sees me. I'm valued. I belong. Somebody wants to listen to me. I mean, this list isn't exhaustive at all. But for someone who claims to follow Christ, for us as a church, we should be progressively growing in this. We should progressively be growing in the way we feed people. Not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. Increasing giving, increasing in invitation, increasing in care for, increasing in visitation. So here's how we'll close. Sometimes it's really hard to know what the needs are for people, especially in an affluent area like where we live. There are plenty of needs here, but what we're really good at is we're really good at wearing masks. So sometimes it's hard to know what people's needs are. And we don't want to be intrusive. We don't want to assume. We don't want to ask. So here's what we do. We pray, God, help me open my eyes to see what the needs are right around me. Let me see the needs right in front of me and give me the courage to follow through and be hospitable as an individual, as in a church. So let's pray that right now. Father, would you just open our eyes to all of the needs that are right around us here in Northern Colorado? Whatever the need are, that we would see it, that we'd see it right in front of us, so that we would have the courage to act, and we would be so hospitable, that our church would be known for hospitality, not just here on Sunday mornings, but more importantly, when we spread out through Northern Colorado Monday through Saturday. Biblical hospitality, love to strangers, and that's uncomfortable, and we don't know what to do, and we're scared at times, and it just feels awkward, but God, will you just encourage us and give us a taste of how awesome it is when we actually follow your lead and trust you in this? When people enter our church, when they enter our small groups, when they enter our homes, when they enter our offices and our schools, everybody that's a part of LifeBridge, would you just let people experience the tangible aspect of the gospel, hospitality, and would you open doors with people in our church to have conversations? We love you. It's in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Well, guys, if you are new, if you're checking things out, like Scott said earlier, we would love to get to know you whenever you're ready. One of the ways you can do that, you can stop by the New Here section in the lobby or text the number on your screen. If you'd like any of our staff to follow up with you, maybe your next step is to get connected onto a service team here or get connected into a group. You can do that out there, or you can do that on our website. Or maybe your next step is baptism. We've got baptism in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, sign up online, go to New Here, text that number on the screen, and we will reach out to you, get you plugged into that process. Guys, I'm excited because we get one more day of fall, and I hope you enjoy this afternoon. Enjoy some football, enjoy the weather, enjoy the leaves, and we will see you back here next Sunday, all right? Have a great week.